thank you guys all for coming out today. I really appreciate it a lot, and it just means a lot to me to have you all here today. So I'm going to just read an excerpt from the book, and then we're going to hold a Q&A session. But first, I want to just play the song that inspired the whole story first. And so it's called Still That Girl by Brittany Cole. So I'm going to read from chapter 3, and I picked it because I thought it was a good portrayal of their friendship and family life, and and it foreshadows the plot line. Sorry. Chapter 3. Katerina turned up the volume of the speakers. The first strains of the girl's favorite song came on. Abigail shut the door of the bedroom. I watch from the sidelines and I whisper softly, quietly, "Don't forget me." They don't hear anything at all, and I'm still standing here. Katerina sang sweetly. She had inherited her beautiful singing voice from her mother. Oh, I catch my breath. How many times have I seen this happen to me? Abigail had a stunning voice as well. Slow down, let me catch my breath. The girls decided to have a dance party. Abigail had pushed Katerina's rug against the wall so they could dance on the wood floor. Katerina was turning off the lights and setting up their disco ball that Benedict and Emiliana had helped them make a year ago. Abigail propped up flashlights around the area, all pointing at the disco ball. Katerina closed the curtains of the window and headed to her balcony door. As she was about to close the curtain, she glanced out the door and saw their neighbor, Peter Marchin. The two girls were good friends with him, even though he was 20. They begged all sorts of things from him, from money for treats to having him play a game with them. He was really nice. Abigail and Katerina dearly loved to tease him. He took it all good-naturedly. "Abby!" She threw open the doors and stepped out into the snow that covered the balcony. "Come here, it's Peter." Abigail ran forward, giggling. Katerina whispered to her, and Abigail laughed out loud. They burst out singing at the top of their lungs. They began to shriek loudly as the snow became unbearably cold on their bare feet. Peter came over laughing. He winked. "Having fun?" "It's cold." Katerina hopped up and down. "How is everyone?" Peter asked, still grinning up at them merrily. "Everyone is doing great," Abigail answered. Katerina slyly added with a wink at Abigail, "Antoinette will be home tonight." "Oh," he blushed. "Where is she?" He glanced at his boots. "She went to their cousins with Em yesterday," Abigail replied. "Oh, right. Benedict told me that. Well, I gotta run. See you later." He turned and ran off, waving. The girls began to giggle at their victory. He blushed. A while ago, the two girls had discovered that Peter might be sweet on Antoinette. They had gone to great lengths to figure out if he really was. "Katerina Anderson and Abigail Dunham, get in here right this minute and dry off your feet." They turned sheepishly around to see Mother standing in the doorway. Katerina stepped back into the room, followed by Abigail. Mother shut the door. She looked at them. Her face was blank. "Stay here while I get towels." "Yes, ma'am," they replied meekly. Katerina and Abigail looked at each other. They were ashamed. They should have known better. Mother came in with the towels. "Dry off and come downstairs with socks and sweaters on. I'll be in the kitchen." She left quickly. "I'm afraid she'll punish us, Abby. I mean, we deserve it." Katerina always got scared when anyone mentioned a punishment. She rarely needed them, though, mainly because after she did something bad, she was always ashamed and very upset with herself. Most of the time, her parents thought that was enough. Abigail smiled sympathetically. "If we do, I'll be with you." After drying off their feet and putting socks and sweaters on, they headed down to the kitchen. Mother was placing mugs of steaming hot chocolate with whipped cream on the table. Katerina glanced at Abigail, who shrugged. "Sit and warm up," she ordered calmly. The two sat down quickly. Mother placed a plate of warm chocolate chip cookies in front of them. Katerina and Abigail each took one as Mother left the room. They ate and drank in silence for a couple of minutes. Therese sauntered in. She paused and raised a questioning eyebrow. "Why so glum, chums? In trouble?" Katerina shrugged. Abigail spoke up. We don't know, she finished chewing. Normally a punishment doesn't involve cookies and hot chocolate with whipped cream. I would have to agree, Therese smiled. She walked over and took a cookie. Mother walked in and Therese scurried out. They all knew the consequences of talking to someone in trouble. Done yet? They gulped their last drink down and nodded quickly. Mother beckoned. Come with me. Katerina and Abigail stood up and followed her down the hall to the library. Mother shut the door behind them. She turned to them and told them to sit down. Katerina leaned forward, looking upset. Mummy, I am really sorry, honest. I should have known better. Abigail fiddled with her hands. I should have too. I'm sorry, Mrs. Anderson. It's all right. It's just, girls, you really should have used your heads and dressed warmly. Mother scolded firmly but gently. We would have, honest. We just saw Peter Marchand and I... Katerina faltered. You what? Mother questioned gently. Katerina looked down at her lap and blushed. I wanted to tease him about Nettie. Why? We think he likes her, Mrs. Anderson, put in Abigail. Well, let me say this. She sounded grave. What? They were instantly alert. Leave that idea to your father and me, but I will say that I agree, although I would like to watch Nettie. Katerina giggled. You sound as profound as Mrs. March when Joe told her about Mr. Brooke and Meg's glove. Abigail groaned and rolled her eyes jokingly as Mother chuckled. I do believe you know that story by heart, Kat. Katerina giggled with Abigail. Well, Mother stood up. Why don't you go find Therese and see if she wants to watch a movie or something with you two to keep you out of trouble? She winked and left the library. The two hurried out and skipped to the living room. Therese, Mom said to ask you if you want to watch a movie, so we stay out of trouble for a while, Abigail added, grinning. All right, what movie shall it be? They headed to the movie shelf to decide. Therese held up one. What about Mulan? Yes, that one's awesome, Abigail cried out. Sweet, I love Mushu. Katerina turned on the TV and popped in the movie. Quite a few hours later, after Mulan and The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, they heard the door open. We're home, Emiliana called out. Antoinette stepped into the room with Emiliana as the credits finished. What were you watching? Emiliana spoke as she flopped down in the armchair. Oh, just Mulan and Narnia, Katerina said offhandedly. You guys were watching a movie? Antoinette asked, pretending to look shocked. Usually they were doing something that turned out destructive. Abigail and Katerina laughed sarcastically. Yeah, we sort of got in trouble, so we were told to watch a movie, Abigail answered as Katerina rolled her eyes, grinning. Father and Benedict came in from the garage. Hey, Dad, Antoinette smiled at him. Welcome home. Father hugged her hello. Did you have fun? Abigail asked them excitedly. Katerina gestured to Abigail as Emiliana began to explain how their visit went. They sidled out of the room and ran up to Katerina's room. They sat silently on Katerina's bed for a bit. Katerina fingered the pattern on the comforter. Abby, she spoke softly. Abigail lay back on the bed. I want to change the world. Katerina spoke this confidently. How? That's the problem. I'm not sure how. She lay down next to Abigail and propped her head up with her arms. Well, let's think then, Abigail spoke thoughtfully. They were interrupted 2 minutes later by Emiliana. Hey, Abigail, your mom is here. The two shot up together. Rats! Katerina and Abigail slid off the bed and followed Emiliana downstairs. Hello, sweetie. Mrs. Dunham turned and smiled. Go. Abigail picked up her music burner. Yep. She hugged Katerina goodbye. Bye, Kat. Katerina hugged her back. Bye, Abby. Katerina, changing the world, was forgotten for a time. 7 years later. Abigail was sorting through her stuff. It was a fine summer day. She had just finished her second year of college. As she shifted through a large pile of photos, she came across one of a girl with brown hair and bright brown eyes. Oh my, Abigail breathed out. The memory of that day came back to her. That was the day she talked about changing the world. I know she believed she could. I believe she could too. I still do. As Abigail stared longer at the photo, it all came back to her. She had remembered that they had felt so young and free that day. They had schemed how Katerina could change the world. They were staying at Katerina's grandparents' house that month. Then their visit was cut short by... Abigail shook herself. No, she spoke firmly to herself. She placed the photo on her bulletin board in the center and continued to clean.